Hey everybody. Um, let's get started. I think that starting now screen was up for a little while. I got distracted. Um, so let's talk a little bit about what we accomplished yesterday, right? And for those of you who weren't here, what we did is we removed Zone.js. So now, and I got this trick from Deborah Carrata, but if you type zone with a capital Z in a project that has Zone.js enabled, you're going to get Zone.js. You get a reference here. If it doesn't have a reference, then it won't be there. So things are looking good. One thing to be aware of that Brandon made a comment last night on Twitter. Brandon Roberts, one of the maintainers, um, of analog.js, and he was expecting this component not to work. He thought it might require zone.js, but it looks like, well, I don't have that part working yet. But what we can see is we are rendering, um, we're rendering Markdown here. So this title here is Markdown. We've got bold coming in from Markdown. Um, and we've got, titles here coming in from Mark. So it looks like our markdown stuff is working. Um, and we'll check that out here in a little bit. Once that's in place. One thing I did want to take a look at was the bundling. Um, we'll go ahead and stop serving for right now. And what we can do is we can now build our Angular block. And this is going to go through, and this will be a production build. And so it will give us an idea of package sizes and things like that. And then we can go. We've got errors. I thought we fixed these yesterday. I was fairly certain we fixed these yesterday. Um, Interesting. I wonder what happened. Let's go take a look. So to fix this, if we go to the analog site, go down to experimental, and in the single file components, it mentions an additional configuration. So if we're using analog files outside of the project's root, you need to specify all passive analog files using globs. And so within our Vite config, we need to specify these globs. So let's go take a look at our Vite config. And we've got our glob right here. So if we look at like let's take a look at the header component, right? Well, like the blog header component here. Our blog header component, if we look, is in, why not? We'll just copy a path reference. Maybe that's the problem. No, Angular blog is the directory, so we'll just grab that, and then we'll go to our Vite config. And we'll go ahead and paste this right here and just see. So it is in source app components, and then it would pick this up here. And if we take a look, so header, blog header component, right? So it's in source app components. Um, and then any directory and that. It looks like we got some new plugin updates. Just the better highlights plugin. I'll worry about that later. So source app components, that, and then that should be picked up by that. And if we look, there's this libs shared UI. They've got a slash in front of theirs. Does that affect anything if I go and try and build now? I did just upgrade. Did upgrade NX just before the stream, and so I'm curious if that is causing. Nope, still not picking it up. App component star star dot star. And if we go take a look here in our app component, can't control click on that. That's too bad. App.component.ts. Yeah, it's still seeing these is not there. Book footer, blog header. My Vite source app components. What if I just do that? Does that affect anything? Because I want to get this build to work. And it's really weird that it's not because it was yesterday. Right at the end of the stream, I fixed up a couple of bugs and now it's not allowing me to build. Last verification written 30 minutes. So it's doing a production build. Yeah. Because we had a couple of so at the end of the stream yesterday, we got some stuff figured out. Let's see. That one will work. And it's always I don't know what it is with globs for me. I always seem to mess up globs. Hey Dukes, it has been a good while. I'm happy to see. I'm doing pretty well. Happy to be back streaming. Happy to be back doing Angular. Had a good vacation. Allowed me to reset a bit. I was completely away from social media and computers for a good while, and it was helpful. So, um, interesting. I don't know why it doesn't like this. It was working yesterday. Let's just see if this one works. I already did this one. Um, I I'm loving the Angular 18 update. We're running the Angular 18 update right now, and I wanted to take a look at the package bundler stuff. Um, and I'm not sure why. Do I need the Angular blog here? I shouldn't. But let's see if maybe that affects anything. I really don't think it should, but watch it fix stuff. No, it didn't fix it. Okay. Um, components footer, component.analog, or its corresponding type declarations. But they're there. If we run this verbose, it's not giving me good information about where it's searching for those analog files. And um, like if I had a good error information, um, this is a TypeScript error. And maybe I need to do something with TypeScript so it understands these. But it's the V builder of the TypeScript. That one's not going to work. And like, if I do this would match it, what we're importing, but I don't think this one's going to work either. Watch it work. Is it? Oh, I was like, oh no, is it going to work? Um, yeah, it's not finding this. It's components, header, log, and maybe just taking the dot slash off. Is that going to work? I'm not sure why this is broken versus yesterday. Um, I guess the NX upgrade could have fixed it. The thing that bothers me though is that when I do a pnpm NX serve Angular blog, then it serves it just fine. It's only when I run the build, and it's only my ts config. So we can see it serving it just fine. So let's look at our project.json in our Angular blog directory. If we look inside of here, so we're using the Vite executor for both. One thing I need to do is move some stuff into Nitro. Our analog stuff is there. There's our tsconfig.app.json. That's hitting main. That's hitting our vite.ts, and it's outputting to our client directory. In development mode, we're just doing some file replacements. In production, we're not producing source map, and we're using production mode. So serve is using the Vite dev server with the development configuration. Creating hot module reloading on serve. Lint is all there. It's crazy. One thing we could do, let's just see if it will, we can run, and we can do Angular dash blog build, and here we can do development. And I might have the build in the Angular blog backwards, but it doesn't look like it. Yeah, it's right here. We can see Angular blog serve development. So here we're doing build development. So in both cases, the build has problems. And our build target differs from our serve because we're using the Vite dev server here, whereas under build, we're using platform Vite. The output path, workspace root dist. So if we go look at our folder here, our workspace root is the Angular blog because we can see the dist file here. And you can actually see from yesterday, I built this. So here is all of our Angular JS stuff. So we can see the files that it built yesterday. Even the server has stuff there. And in changing this to be source, maybe we'll just try app. You know what? Let's go even deeper. Let's just do header, and let's just do blog dash header dot component dot analog, and we'll do source on here too, right? And we'll see if that fixes the header. And if that fixes the header, then it's something wrong with it. It's something wrong with my blob. No, that didn't fix the header. Hmm. Let's try taking source off. I just want to narrow this down to like what could it be, right? And sometimes, you get into these states where um and I'm looking at chat and stuff as I'm trying to do this, but we get into these states where we don't know exactly what the issue is. So we have to figure out, okay, what could be causing this, right? Um, let's build this one. And while we're doing that, let me just verify when we did here. Yeah, this was just all NX stuff. but it did update Vite. So hmm. It can't be this far in. Let's just see if I set this to false. Does that do anything for us? Um, when I set this to false, it should complain about all of them, but it's not. Um, only complaining about these two. I set this to true. What I'm curious is it maybe not picking up my Vite config file for whatever reason when I'm doing a build? That's not helping either. So let's go back and let's look at our project.json. We're using the Vite. We're using Angular blog source main TS. Using Angular blog Vite config.mts. Come on. Vite config.mts, yes. We're outputting here. Our tsconfig is the tsconfig.app. Does that exist? So there it is right there. Target is ES 2022. This, I think, breaks Angular if you use constructor injection. So main TS and main server TS include that. App routes, app pages. See, but within our pages, we have some analog files, I thought. So like if we go take a look here in home, yeah, we've got analog files here in pages. Um, and source app components. And it's not complaining about article blurb. That's what's really crazy to me. Um, is it's only complaining about this file. And because it can't import these, wait, what? It does know what these are. It's calling them an analog HTML file. It's even here. That's even crazier. So it knows where they are. Um, for whatever reason, my Vite config, those targets don't match. Is that an issue? Um, so that's the way we were before, I believe. Um, public dir is source public. We're importing that. Consult docs for better use build.rollup options.output manual chunks or framework specific. I wonder if it's this NXVTS path. Where are we using that? Here. And what options can we pass to this? Ooh, can I do true here? Nice. Um, so extensions. Oh, so if we do like TS, MTS, um, .js, am I doing this wrong? Yeah, I need the dots on there. .mts.js, .mjs, and we will also add .analog here. Is that going to help us? I don't know. Let's find out. What else can we add to here? Main fields. Don't care about that. Build libs from source. Um, set defaults to use incremental builds. We don't want incremental builds for our actual builds themselves. But let's see if the debug gives us any information as we're going through this. So we're building the production. Run Angular blog build production. And it's saying that it can't find this module. And let's see if verbose gives us anything better now that we've turned on debugging. We've gotten past all the Cloud Runner stuff. Um, but still can't find that module. Um, so the TS config, this is all that stuff. It's just the hashes of everything that I've built before. Um, so I don't know. The default should be fine there. Let's just see, like right here, if I do console.log, and let's just log the Veep mode for whatever reason, and we'll see what's going on here, right? See if we actually get that output. Because I wonder if the upgrade to NX is what caused our issues. So I'm not even getting that console log. Let's see if verbose gives us anything. It may be swallowing that output. Um, all the cloud stuff. So yeah, it was doing that. So Veep mode is production, so it is getting into that. Um, so we know we're getting here. Better public dir. And we'll turn on SSR here in a bit. I want to use SSR to do our API stuff for Contentful. Um, let's take a look at post metadata. So additional configuration. Um, so analog there. You need to use the analog Veep plugin or the Astro plugin. So define config Veet, plugins analog Veet experimental. Source Veet. This is temporary while the analog SFC is experimental. Oh, type information. Is that what I'm? Are we missing that? So the type information and the source Veet env.dts. Source env. So if we uncomment that, it doesn't like that. I think it's supposed to be that instead of 3 comments. Is that's probably going to break stuff if I do it that way. We can turn off the verbose. Um, it doesn't like my venv.dts. Oh yeah, we've got, there we go. So now we've got some weird stuff going on. Import.meta.env.prod. So it was 3 stars before, or 3 slashes before, I believe. I put it down to 2. I don't remember how to use these references, and so um, got that issue, that issue. Now we're also getting the meta.env.prod. So this is definitely not working. So 3 slashes it is. That probably fixes that. Or I've just broken things worse than before. And wait, why is it running that beat mode there? That was commented out. Or has that always been there? No, it hasn't always been there. But it shouldn't be running this. This Vite mode production should not be there. So if I run this again, we shouldn't see that printout of the Vite mode. It's not here anymore in our defined config. What is, oh. So that was a broken, interesting. But this is, why is it picking this up? Where is it getting this from? So let's see if we can find Vite mode. So where is it getting that from? There's obviously something wrong with wherever it's picking this up from, because I've removed this code. It's not there anymore. It's been cached somewhere. Let's see if .nx has. Oh, there's a whole bunch of stuff in the cache here. If we take a look, we're on the third. Actually, we can just do this. There's the file map. There's everything all zipped up. Is it still using? No, it couldn't. So that's our build from yesterday. These are all of our terminal outputs that it's saving to give us back. Um, so index.mjs types render. Where is that coming from? I think we can add no dash cache here and just force it to not use the cache at all. And see what happens in that case. No, it's still cached. Let's try an exec nx build Angular blog. Let's see if that does anything for us with the exec on it. So we're still doing the nx run. We're still getting this Vite mode production. Where is that coming from? pnpm nx. How do I do no cache here? Maybe we'll do an nx reset and see what happens. Skip nx cache. That's what we wanted. Not no cache. Skip nx cache. Let's see if that gets rid of the. No, it's still got the Vite mode production. Why? pnpm nx reset. Let's just reset it. This might take a few minutes. This is very, very strange. So let's try rebuilding it again. Getting permissions issues. Very strange. So if I go look at the NX cache, and this daemon.log, open this. Okay. I think if I hold down shift, um, that's really interesting. That's a lot of fun. Why does it think I don't have permission to? Let's try resetting this again. NX reset will stop the daemon. But now I can't do anything. Let's look at we've got some other tools that we can use to look at this. Um, so I should be able to see show more properties or unlock with file locksmith. No results. Restart as administrator. Yes. So even using like the file locksmith here, um, Can I rename it? I am the administrator on this computer. I just raised my permission levels to administrator. Um, Fascinating. I'm gonna have to dig in and see why it doesn't think I'm an administrator on my own computer. Um, Bit Defender kill it with like the file shredder. Yes, delete it. File not found. So interesting. It's saying there's another program. Let's just try exiting out of here. And now let's try renaming this.
I'll tell her.
Fascinating. Here we go. Kill that version of Node. And now, can I rename this? Now I can rename it. Oh, and that file's not there anymore. Interesting. I wonder. So I wonder if the OS was saying, "Hey, you can't do this," not because I don't have permissions, but just because the file didn't exist. Um, and it looks like, oh, I did that. I was like, it looks like it killed my terminal. No, I killed my terminal. We'll go ahead and open that again. And now let's see if we can do pnpm nx reset. I wonder what had that locked. Okay, so we successfully reset the. So now if we run nx build angular blog, do we not get the cached output? Because if we don't get the cached output, we're in a good place. Why is that there? Where is that coming from? Like if we go back into WebStorm, right? And I just do like console.log. This is a logging statement to see what happens. So I wonder if like some of my changes just aren't doing anything because we're just getting cached output. And I don't know where the cached output would be from. Okay. So now my logging statement's there, right? So let's just take this out. There we go. We save that. do I get that logging statement? And maybe I hadn't saved my. That would be hilarious if I hadn't saved my file, right? That'd be really hilarious if that's what caused this. You know what? Let's just take TRPC out for right now. Um, so I'm not using TRPC is an interesting idea. Um, where is this? This is routers. Um, what is this? Okay, so this is the TRPC stuff under server. So if we go in here and we go into Angular blog, source, why can't I see source? Is that really a thing? We are under Angular blog, Angular blog. That could be part of my problem. But let's keep getting rid of these TRPC stuff. Um, so TRPC is a way to send TypeScript stuff across our server. We aren't really using it. Let's find more references to TRPC in here. So in the app config, we don't need the TRPC client. We'll take that out. We're going to get rid of TRPC in here. And part of the reason that we're doing this is that NX hasn't, or not NX, analog hasn't. So the TRPC stuff for analog is at version, it's in a pre-release version. It hasn't been upgraded with the rest of it. And I'm not using it, so I'm going to take it all out. I don't think that that's part of the problem. Let's go ahead and do a pnpm install. With no frozen lock file. And that should remove our TRPC stuff, and we'll commit that. So yeah, we took out the TRPC. So let's go ahead and commit that. So here, that's removing TRPC. That's removing TRPC. That is. That is two. That is two. Beat. We'll commit this line. And then in package and in the lock, and we're just going to say that we removed. Whoops, what did I do? I went to the wrong one. So we removed analog slash TRPC. Commit those, and we'll push that. And let's see if I horribly broke things. So that's not going to fix our other issue, but I think we can fix our other issue. I think we do need Angular blog source app here. And then components to make this work. So we go back to our Vite config. And here, I think we do need the Angular dash blog slash source. We'll go ahead and save that. Let's see if that fixes anything. No, no. Why would it? Blog footer and blog header just aren't working. But they work. The thing that's frustrating is if we just do pnpm nx serve Angular blog, this works. And that's where this gets frustrating, is that it works when we just serve it. But when I go try to build it, it doesn't work. And it's always worked for me to serve it like that. And the headers are fine. And I don't even think I need this because technically we're off the root of the project anyway. Outside of a project's root, right? So we're not outside of, we're inside of the root, analog Vite experimental. Using components. Import app from ./app/analog. So here we're just grabbing it. You need to add them to your imports. I think leaving this just as true should be fine, because we're technically in the root, I believe. We've turned off TRPC, and here we've got it in the imports. The TypeScript doesn't recognize this is a module, which is why in the Vite config inside of here, I wanted to extensions here, just do like dot analog. Is that going to do anything for me? Oh, I'm serving it. Dang it. I was like, oh, it works. It works. It doesn't work. I was serving it. But it just seems to be ignoring this file. So we're going to log out this config and see what we get when we run it. We'll log the entire config. So here's our config. Right bundle, split Vite vendor chunk, global's true. This is testing. But my plugins is an analog. Got Nitro, SSR, Vite, experimental. Which is either a Boolean or an include string, and then some template transforms. And then this is just the paths. But it seems to be include so here, what if I just do star star slash star dot analog? Why not? Let's see if that does anything for me. I shouldn't have to do that, but I'm not sure why it won't build. Yeah, that still doesn't. So the other thing we can do, we can put this back to true because I think they're in the root path. But this is a bit heavy-handed, but we can just go in and just throw in a TS ignore on both of these. Um, and it's heavy-handed and a bit annoying, but we're using free release software here. And so there just might be a bug with what's going on. So we can already see that V is now kicking in, building for production. And I really don't know why. Um, I don't know why I can't get those analog files to be recognized outside of the server. Um, but it is kind of, I hate the saying, but it is what it is. And it successfully built our files for us. And so we can see, and the main reason I wanted to do this is I wanted to do the stats JSON, which I didn't do this time around. But we can do a stats.json here. And that's going to output a file that we can use to analyze our bundles. Um, I'm also going to go here and I'm going to comment out this console log. Um, so there we go. So now if I go look in our dist folder, um, inside of here, we should see in our client, where's my stats JSON? Is it not stats.json? Dist, client, assets. Yeah, I expect there to be a stats.json file here. And maybe I'm doing the wrong one. So npx nx build dash dash help. Thought it was a stats dash JSON. Um, configuration output style exclude verbose parallel graph skip nx cache project. Okay, let's go do some more searching. So nx stats.json file. Um, that's from a while ago. Can't build library with stats JSON. So is it not with the stats dash JSON, but with the stats JSON here? Because we need that stats JSON file to analyze the, oh, and we're building with Vite here. So Vite stats JSON. So Vite bundle analyzer. The Vite project's root, npx Vite bundle analyzer. So maybe it doesn't build with, if I do npx Vite bundle analyzer, will this work? Unable to determine executable to run. Oh, Vite bundle visualizer. Vite bundle visualizer. Somebody's going to generate an npm collision for that in the future. Cannot resolve entry module. Okay, so I need to go to dist. Angular blog. There we go. So now I should be able to run the Vite bundle visualizer. And it should be able to analyze. And so stats.json wasn't doing anything because I was expecting. So with Webpack or I'll open this with Arc just once. So here we go. Yeah. So with Webpack or oh, my brain is drawing a blank right now. I keep wanting to say analog or something like that. But with the other builder that Angular uses, you have to generate stats JSON, and then their analyzers run on the stats JSON. It looks like with Vite you can just run it directly. But we can see some stuff going on here. So right off the bat, we can see this giant assets article service. And this giant article service is so big because Well, I know why it's so big. We're adding to it. This file adds it adds Faker. Faker JS is accounting for majority of this bundle. And in fact, if we look at the service here, um, assets article service. So the index page and a bunch of other pages refer to this service. If we look at the assets bundles here, we've got this tiny bundle. That's the Vite bundle. Um, oh, so we've got a polyfill in here. We do have polyfills in here. That's what I was, the main reason I was looking for this is I wanted to see what polyfills we had. Um, but our bundles aren't being split very well because I'm not using defer very well. And so when we look at the output from our console, we've got the half a kilobyte um, index. We've got a couple K for that, but then we've got our vendors bundle, which is fairly big. Um, we've got our CSS, which is also fairly large, mainly due to the fact that we're using Daisy with every single theme. We could definitely make that smaller. We could probably also use Lightning to make that smaller too. Um, but then most of these are fairly small, although the index.js is fairly large, and I think this is what's going to be rendered right off the bat. Um, so we could take a look at some of this stuff here. Let's go ahead and kill the Vite stats, right? And that's not going to work right now. But so I don't know. I spent a whole bunch of time trying to fix things. Um, really, it just came down to me adding TS ignores, which is going to cause issues with the linter. But at this point, I'm just happy that it builds. Let's see. Oh, I wanted to go take a look at some of these files and see. Um, well, actually, well, let's go take a look at some of these files. So in our dist, in our assets, um, so our index.js is going to be probably one of our first files that opens. Um, and so we can see that it depends on the homepage. It depends on article blurb and a whole bunch of other stuff like that. Um, so we could make this smaller um, by being a little bit smarter about the way we load some stuff. Um, it's having to parse out um, all of these components here. And that is fairly large too. Um, but we've just got a whole bunch of like the theme store, right? This is the header component and stuff like that has been added inside of there. Um, And I'm curious why. So like the router outlet and the JSON pipe, we aren't using the JSON pipe anywhere here. So one thing we could do to make this easier is we could get rid of the JSON pipe, and that should make our bundle size go down. Right, the theme store is going to be large, and that's probably a good portion of the reason why things are so large. Um, we could probably also take a look at like our blog header. Um, so if we went to the blog header component, um, and so we've got our theme store here. We're grabbing themes, theme store, router link. We're using all of that stuff in here. We don't have any components that we could get rid of there. So if we take a look at the blog footer, this one's also fairly simple, and we're using the router link. So we don't have stuff we could clean up there. I mean, if we really wanted to, we could defer loading the blog header and blog footer, but there's not a whole lot to be gained there. I mean, bundle splitting for the sake of bundle splitting sometimes isn't that good. And our theme store, we're fine there. I don't know. I guess I'm not too concerned. If I was, we could go in and definitely make this smaller. Um, we could add defers to these, right? So we could go and add defer um, here and move that in there. And we could also add defer here. And in doing that, um, we're cutting down on a bunch of our references. I'm not sure how much that's going to help us though. So now if we let's go back, and now if we do pnpm nx build, and we don't use stats because Vite doesn't build them, it can analyze its own packages based on the index. But the article service is always going to be huge. But it should only be loaded whenever we're using article stuff, and we could probably make that smaller. So now if we take a look, our index is small, our assets are small. So our index.css is there, it's smaller. What was the name of the file? Index-bu is 493. So yeah, by deferring those two components, we took our index file from 493K down to our index.js is now 4.5K, which is less JavaScript that has to be rendered, but it might cause cumulative layout shift. There are some potential there. We actually lost a whole bunch of, because we had the vendor file up here too, right? Yeah, we did. There's the vendor file. So the vendor file grew a little bit. By deferring those, did we cause problems? Um, because that's at 2.8, that's at 2.8, so that's the same. How many files are we out? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We're outputting the same number of files, but everything got much smaller. Does this work? I'm curious if it's not going to work because we aren't including the analog files anymore. Um, so the faker stuff is still there. It's still huge. Um, okay, that's crazy. That is totally crazy because that works. Why does that work? How does that work? I don't know how that works. How did I get rid of so much JavaScript, but still have it work? Um, that's always the part that is crazy to me. Um, because our header and footer both work. Um, and if we go take a look at our sources, um, there's our styles file. Our app, our app component is now tiny, like tiny. And the other crazy thing is with Angular 18 and the stuff they've done with Wiz, these become tiny islands as soon as we turn on SSR, which will be kind of crazy to think about too. But why does that work? Why is that so much smaller? Like here's our footer. And here's our header. I don't know how that works. When we refresh this, we can go see the network here. Let's pop this to the bottom, and we'll go ahead and clear this, and then we'll refresh. And we should see. That doesn't work very well. Let's just pop it out. So we grab the articles right away. We grab the client. So articles is the precompiled file. There's our styles. And our main.ts, which brings in some other stuff. Our Angular stuff comes in. Here's our header. Got a whole bunch of different chunks here. But one of these is our header that's coming in. There's a lot here. That's our request there. It's our index page. There's our blurb. That's our home page. There's our Lux on date stuff. Our signals are coming in. We've got a transfer stuff going on there. There's the analog router. This is what routes all our stuff. Oh, there it was right there. Our blog header and our blog footer come in a bit later, once the page is settled. So we render this page right away. And this is what brings up. There's our Angular blog root. And then our client stuff. But we bootstrap Angular here. This is the app component. We bootstrap Angular with our main TS, which then loads the Angular platform, which then loads this component. Okay, interesting. I think it's always good to just, dig through your code every once in a while, just so you understand what's going on. Why I refresh this? There we go. Let's get our console back. Man, that took a lot longer than I wanted it to. And I'm not sure, like, if caching was part of the problem yesterday or what was going on. But we'll just say, hey, we optimized bundles and got production build to work. And I'm really curious why it's so much smaller just by adding those two defers. Maybe I'm missing some package changes somewhere, but that is a significant size savings. And by making things so small, like let's look here. Localhost 4200. So here we go. So here we are, and if we bring this over, so yeah, I need to enable SSR, which means I need to get the server running and get some of the stuff fixed. But is it under recorder? Performance insights. This is the one that I think I was looking for. So it's going to load and um, it's going to give us some good information. Um, but we can see down here in the bottom corner that we can see how the site comes in. So as it loads, um, and it gives us where our LCP is. Um, so the DOM is loaded here. Our first paint is actually the header and the footer. And then it takes some time for us to get our stuff back, right? But by this point, we've rendered most things here. And our time to interactive is half a second, which not bad. And then our layout shifts. And we can look at like our network stuff here. So we can see, how quickly everything loads. Um, we can see that, a lot of our weighting is actually on contentful. That we've actually got most of our stuff here. Um, and, um, we can get all sorts of information here, but um, how do I want to move? There we go. Got two workers going, not doing anything. I believe inside of here there was a way. Um, View network redirects. Our layout shift. So this layout shift is our CSS coming in. No, it's not. This is just the rendering going on. So we can see that our layout shift happens because, wow, wait, we had stuff faster. So our articles coming in is causing our layout shift too. I thought there was. Um, where is it? I know I saw this the other day. Maybe in. I don't know. There was a way to basically look at bundles that were downloaded at that point in time, and I don't remember where it is. I'm gonna put this back, and that back. Um, but anyway, let's take a look. Let's get our blog finished. It is crazy to me that adding those two defers did so much, and that's kind of the magic here, right? Defer is going to make your initial bundle size smaller, but it's also going to cause your page to load in chunks, right? Because what we're doing with defer is we're creating an island here, saying, hey, when you're immediately free, right? When the rendering stops, grab this, right? And same here. When the rendering stops, grab this. And so that's why, in our page, as we're going through that timeline, we see um, okay, so I don't have the experiments on here either. But as we're going through that timeline, we see the header and footer pop in. Like it doesn't, to our eyes, we don't see it because it happens in half a second. So it's, everything's there really, really fast. And we can take a look in our network tab, and at the bottom we can get our stats, right? We pop this out. The DOM was loaded in 210, so 2/10 of a second. We were loaded in 252 milliseconds. Everything was done in 1.13 seconds. So this is probably us waiting for an image. If we look, yeah. So this is just us waiting for an image. So that's not too bad. Most of the stuff was done by this point in time. So how do I clear this? So our waterfall actually doesn't look too bad. Our DOM was loaded here at this line. And then the page was loaded here at this line. And then the rest is us waiting for content and then figuring out pictures and stuff. And so if we look at this line right here, we can look here, and this is the stuff that we grabbed. So just small files. This client JS. This is the hot module reloading. So they wouldn't even get this file. So that's 100K. We're getting 60K in styles. Our main TS itself is 500 bytes, and it's loaded there. We'll call it 600 bytes, right? And then our environment is loaded there. I mean, it's small. And that's why it loads so fast, right? Like that single defer changes things up quite a bit, and it allows the waterfall to work better because we get better better loading. So very happy with that actually. It's so there's some weirdness with Arc still. It's getting better, but there's still some weirdness going on. Okay. And this is a whole debugging stream. Like what I want to do, let's actually write some code. I wanted to come here and write some code. And one of the things I wanted to do is the article. Um, so these are the blurbs. What I want to do is go to articles and go to the article ID page. This is the page that I want to work on because this page has images on it. Um, and so we add the article. See, I want to make this image the same. And I'm trying to remember. So like if we go here and we click here, this takes us to just that articles with the ID on it. It's got, so the ID is coming from the URL. The article is based on the pipe, and we're getting the article here. So get article here comes from the article service. Article service takes in an image width and an image height. We're returning a test article here instead of the main articles. So we should return an article service here. We're getting the blog posts. We've got cached articles where we've got all of our articles. You know what? Let's go to Contentful and get it anyway. So let's, well, no, because we set our image also in here. And so like, are we even using Faker here? Where are we using Faker now? We're using it in the article model. So if we don't have an ID, we're just returning a fake ID. We're returning fake titles and stuff like that. This is create test article. Which really shouldn't be part of the article model. It should be in its own place so that it's only part of the tests. But I think we are using create test article. So what we can do is we can just say, hey, we've got an async get article with an article ID. And here, we're not going to cache these. So what we can do is we can return await, and we're going to use we're just going to use the client and we're going to do a query on it. And so we can just say, hey, await this dot client dot. And so here we're using get entries. We only want a single entry. So yeah, we can just say, hey, we want this. And so up here, and we don't want a then on this. We can just say const response equals await this dot that. And we're not using response yet. We will. So I don't really want to return undefined. But that's what we do in other places. So we can just say, hey, if not response, return undefined. Great. And so now we can say, now we can take this stuff right here. So we can basically copy this stuff. We want all of this. And we're just going to copy it here for now. Our author will be, we're going to take all of these items. Try again. And we're going to call them response. There we go. Doesn't like that. Oh, it's because I named it Repsons. Oops. Come on. Response. There we go. So now we've created that. We don't need this. We also don't need this. We can just say, hey, const article equals create test article. Great. And here we can just say article. And we are not going to set the cache. And the last thing we want to do is just make sure that in the article service, we're pulling out the image size. We want to pass these two across. So we can pull that here and add that. Boom. But we aren't using image size yet. Let's pull it apart inside. So we'll only bother to pull it apart if we have a response. And then our image height and image width can go here. There we go. And in our article service, we no longer need to do this. Instead, we can just return from, yeah, that will work. And it doesn't like this because it could be undefined. So we need to add that, or undefined. And we're good there. But that is probably going to cause problems in our article pages, articles, article ID. So our article is that or undefined. Actually, it looks like we're probably fine. No, it doesn't. Look down here. Oh yeah, it doesn't know what byline is. That's fine. It doesn't know what these variables are. That's fine. I actually think that that works. So everything rebuilt, our contentful service rebuilt, all of that rebuilt. So if we go back home and I click here, hey, we get that with our green beans. And if we go back home and we click on that, okay, that looks way different when it's bigger. Smaller, that looks like, you know, a bear or something, right? But when it gets bigger, you can tell that it's kind of going back into the trees and the cliff face. We aren't rendering the markdown yet. So let's get that fixed. And that we can fix with our template. And we'll need to fix the scrolling stuff too. I know that one's broken. So there's our article title with the byline, our image, all of that is there. And so this class equals content. I honestly think that it will be just as simple as doing this. So what we can do, oops, is just paste that in, add that. And you know what? This is a good chance to use the let variable. And let's see if it works. At let, um, is that how? I don't remember the syntax for it. We'll have to look it up. So Angular at let flow control. There's the at for. I know I saw something on it just recently. And maybe it doesn't, maybe it's not here yet. Template locate local variables with at let. So yeah, you used to do this. Okay. So the syntax is let some variable equal this. So some variable equal that or that. And here we can just say, hey, it's just content now. And I don't think, yeah, I don't think that that WebStorm understands at let yet, but it should soon. So the next thing we need to do is we just need to import the markdown. So we can just say import, yeah. And it's not from there. It actually comes from analog.js. Slash from content slash nope analog.js slash platform slash nope. Where does that come from? We can look here. It's analog.js slash content. And it is the markdown component, not analog markdown. So markdown component. And I probably need to put, I don't think it's a default export. Yep. So there we go. So now if we go back and we go to our main page and we click here, uh-oh. Consider using AOT instead. Wait, what's going on here? That works fine. Is it the let variable that's causing this? It could be the let. So instead of using let, we will change this to be, whoops. Just do an at if here. So at if article content, what did I do? So if we have article content, we'll do this. Otherwise, we will just say H3 article not found. And that should work, maybe. Yep. So there we go. We're rendering all of our, um, we're rendering our markdown. What we'll need to do next time is clean up our markdown. But we can see that now we're getting the same pictures. If we go back, we can see the beans here and the cave here. And when we go here, we can see, we're getting a much bigger view. And, again, we're getting the beans. Interestingly, with the square, we're getting a bit of whatever the container is. But with this view, we're just getting a zoomed in view of the beans. But it's the same thing. And so, you know, it looks decent. But one thing we need to do is like this. So we've got these markdown classes here, right? And we don't have anything modifying the analog markdown. So like here, and we've got a paragraph with strong on it. And actually, we've got paragraphs with strong on everything. There's a paragraph there and a paragraph there. So one thing we could do, is we could, for instance, inspect this, and we could add this class. And so we could say, if we do dot analog dash markdown, oh, we're adding the class there. That's not what we want. This is what we want. New style rule. That's not what we want either. But I guess, did it add the style here? There we go. So there's our analog markdown. So here we could do P, and we could do, oh, come on. They're not going to let me do padding bottom or margin bottom. It probably won't. But let's see. Let's make the margin bottom like 2 rem, right? Yeah, it doesn't like that. But well, we can do this. Just to kind of clean this up, right? So we've got this analog markdown. Time is it? I can end at 8. That'll be fine. So let's go to our CSS class. So styles.css. And in our base layer, here, we can just add analog dash markdown. And maybe maybe we should go take a look at the analog stuff for markdown first, right? So in our guides here, nope, integrations. So do we have information about applying? We got the Shiki highlighter. We can probably do some stuff with that. Um, we provide content with Markdown Renderer. Um, then we've got our routes, Prime.js syntax highlighting. Um, so we could add our Prism highlighter. Um, that will probably give us some code highlighting. So if we go to um, if we go to our app.config, we got the with Markdown renderer, and we can also do with Prime. What's it called? Oh, with Prism highlighter. So with Prism highlighting, I think we can import that, right? I think it's highlighter. Prism dash highlighter. Well, let's just copy this. And we'll just paste this right here. And let's see if it can find it now. It can't, but that's okay. We can just say import with Prism highlighter. And here we just go from analog JS slash content slash. Do I have to add this? Probably. Yeah, it doesn't know where Prism dash highlighter is. Let's try the Shiki highlighter. With Shiki highlighter from content dash. Where does that come from? Shiki dash highlighter. And it doesn't know where that is. Because we probably need to install it. Um, so let's see. PNPM or yeah, PNPM add at analog.js/content /shiki dash highlighter. Isn't supported by any available to enable highlighting with Shiki add with Shiki highlighter. To provide content in act config. Yep. So it understands Angular. It's not showing. Mermaid support, content subdirectories. Inside of here, do I need to do? I just search for Control K. Come on. Doesn't say that I need to do anything special here. Analog.js content cheeky dash highlighter. Content cheeky dash highlighter. Let's go take a look at the npm directory, the node modules. So inside of here, analog.js content. There's prism, utils, zone wait for. So within content, um, great, that's helpful. Um, package.json, meta framework, Angular. These are our peer dependencies. Marked dash highlights. Hmm. Hmm. So ESM, there's our content. There's Prism. Index grabs from lib, anchor navigation, content renderer. There's provide content with markdown renderer. Yeah, I don't see within content. Um, I have to figure out what I'm missing. Um, because again, we're seeing the same files. Um, and this is interesting because Brandon mentioned that we were probably going to need the zone to wait for promises to resolve. So we'll take a look at the formatting next time. Because I'm not sure what I'm missing, why I don't have that. Um, but we can definitely clean up the formatting, make it look better. Um, That's not there anymore. Um, oh, I'm not serving. All right. Anyway, I think now is a good time to end. It's 8 o'clock my time. Um, I did spend a lot of time trying to figure out why that wouldn't work. We just wound up throwing a TS, a TS ignore at it. Not the best solution, but sometimes with pre-release, there might be bugs. So actually, this isn't pre-release, but the single file components are. The single file components are still experimental, and that was where I was having the issue. Um, so, um, but the zoneless works. We got the blog all working. It now loads articles properly. Um, it renders the markdown properly too. So that's good. Um, yeah, thank you everybody. I'm lost in this analog, but really excited for Angular. Um, but you don't think that is overkill for a blog to use Angular, or I missed something? Um, there are like you could use a service like any of the CMSs out there. You're right, Tukes. There are lots of CMSs out there. We're basically writing our own CMS. And so, yeah, Angular might be a bit of overkill. And in fact, we're using Contentful as our backend, right? Um, so um, it might be overkill. But if you want to create your own blog, using Angular or React or Vue or any of the frameworks out there is not a bad idea. So it'll allow you to structure things in a way that you understand, right? Um, but most of those CMSs out there are headless anyway, and they allow you to style things anyway. Or just go out to Medium or something like that, right? Um, this is just more of an experiment to see can we do it. And using Markdown seemed, a blog seemed like a good idea. Yeah, we've got it. All of the functionalities there. We need to figure out the styling for our Markdown and make our Markdown look better. But it all renders. So yeah, thank you guys for being here. We'll see you guys on Thursday, where we will look at styling, and I want to look at testing analog, um, specifically with Vite, and see if there are issues there too. Um, Analog, yes, and I do want to take a look at server-side rendering. You're absolutely right, Tukes. And we can see the analog also has a server. So appconfig.server, right? And so there's stuff here that we can do too. And if we look at our package.json, inside of here, I believe there's a run. There isn't. But I mean, I think we can just do pnpm nx. Well, that's interesting. I've never actually done server rendering. So if we take a look at server-side rendering, to run it, so our routes are all pre-rendered, but we need to, well, I would need to turn on SSR anyway, but I believe with NX, there's a way, there's the serve analog app. don't I have to start the server for the SSG stuff to work? Like, if we go into the v config, I did turn off SSR a little while ago. Um, so if we turn this back on and we turn this back on, oh no, we don't want to pre-render that route. This should turn on SSG for us. So now if I do pnpm nx serve, we serve our blog, then we should get static side generation stuff. So we're serving on 4200 again. Now if we refresh, yeah, local storage is not defined. Oh, it's because I'm using local storage. So you can't use local storage in. So if we take a look at index.html, take a look at our theme store. Inside of here, we're using local storage. Right, and what we need to do is we just well, this is where I need to do more research. So Angular SSR local storage. And this, I mean, this is where my knowledge of, I know local storage is not there. Yeah, so actually, it looks like it's a simple fix. So we just say after next render here, and then we can set that in there. Um, um, my terminal die. So the after next render should work. There we go. Oh, the effect is also having an issue. That's fine. We can just say, hey, after next render, we're also going to set the effect, right? And this is going to defer it until we're in a browser context. And that's, um, one of the things that I guess I needed to learn about SSR and SSG. Um, I knew that local storage wasn't available, and that's why I had it turned off. But as things become hydrated, it should work. So now if we go back and refresh, oh, um, oh, so our on init is a problem because after next render can only be run inside of that. So what we can do is um, here, well, we can get the injection context, right? So um, basically we have to add run in injection context. Um, doesn't like this because we got 2 but expected 1. Um, so basically we have to move all of this stuff into an injection context. Um, and let's see, well, the first one is the injector. And to do that, um, we need to surround this with that, and then say that we return that. And then the other thing we can do is we can now say um, const injection context, or no, this is the injector, equals inject injector. We grab that, and we grab that. And then here we can just throw our injector in, and then our function. And now that will run in an injection context. And then we can serve it again and hopefully not kill it again. Um, there we go. And now if we refresh, we killed it again. create contentful service is also giving us problems. Theme store.ts. I think it's this effect. You know what? Instead of doing that, we can set that up to run there. I think there's some other issues, but I've got to call it. Maybe this will render. We'll see. Probably not. It looks like it crashed again. Yeah. The injector is already destroyed. That's interesting. Node modules. Assert not destroyed. Oh. So we're using Zone.js now. So it looks like we have to pick. We could probably get this to work if we put Zone.js back, but I don't know if I want to do that. So I think I'm going to call it here. I will pick this back up on Thursday, but it looks like right now server-side rendering relies a bit on Zone.js. The zoneless stuff is still very much preview, so it's not unexpected to run into something like this. By the time it's released, I'm sure it will all be fixed. But until that happens, we're going to run into some thorny issues every once in a while, right? It's just to be expected. But thanks for the idea, Tukes. It was fun exploring it, and we will take a look basically at finishing this up on Thursday. From there, I want to go in and update a couple of the things we worked on stream. So I want to create an Angular 18 branch of log observable. Actually, I think we're using log observable in this application. I know we are. Log observable. Yeah. And I know I've seen this already. So, oh, wait, libs rxjs. Okay, so one thing I need to do is stop using the one here and use the one that we actually put together. So we'll clean that up too. But one of the things that I definitely want to do is make sure that log observable works with Angular 18. If it doesn't, I want to update that and get an Angular 18 branch that works. And then we'll have the 17 branch if we need to do any bug fixes for that. The 18 branch will we'll put on a. I'm actually thinking that we might. Um, I don't know what we'll do. It should work with Angular. It should be more dependent on RxJS than it is on Angular. Um, so it should work. We'll figure out what to do with versioning once it breaks. But yeah, I want to take a look at making sure that we get log observable from npm in here. I want to also make sure that I want to upgrade the Angular Sudoku to be zoneless on Angular 18. And then, yeah, those are the two big ones. I might take a look at Angular dynos too, just because, the Sudoku and the Angular, the full stack dynos are both popular repos, and so it would be nice to keep them up to date for people who want to look at how we can use them with the latest stuff. Yeah, that's my idea for the next little bit. Thank you for being here. We will see